Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Kayak Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Nation. Kayak Nation. Yeah, welcome to the Kayak Nation. Kayak Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Nation.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. I'm Jeff Malott, my partner over there, Ryan Lambert. How y'all doing tonight? What's going on, Ryan?
Wide open, man. Is it weird that when you do the countdown thing, I always turn the volume up on my laptop just so I can hear DJ's intro song?
That's right. Yeah, that may stick forever. Jay Wallen said that's his favorite part of the show. He doesn't even really pay attention to us.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Once Jay Wallen gets on the show, I feel like he's going to appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, that's right. Friend of the show, Jay Wallen. We got a big one. Yeah, we got a big one for y'all tonight. We got Josh Smith from the Dark Waters over here. That's going to be a fun time. And then we got Robert Weiker coming on. We wanted him to come on weeks ago, but we were in the midst of all the Save JT stuff, and he won that tournament while we were doing the auction and the raffle, and just didn't get him on then. So he, Ryan, we were talking before. He's back to back East-West Harbor winner, so we wanted to pull him over here.
Robert's got a lot of cool stories. He started doing like a hand painted like custom hard baits, line out custom tackles, the name of it. So crankbaits, bull shads, whatever. He started doing that like 4 or 5 years ago, and it freaking blew up. I mean, he just did it as a hobby, and it got huge there for a while. So it'll be good to hear from him, and he's been in the game for a long time, so he's kind of seen the evolution of everything change, and I can't wait to pick his brain on that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. As always, we got a few current events to talk about before we get to talking to Josh here. But if you're watching, please let us know where you're watching from, number one, and help us out and give this a share to your page or your local group or whatever. Doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us get a little more exposure for the podcast. So we appreciate y'all that are on.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a few things happen this week. There wasn't, nothing major, I guess, as far as drama on the page or anything like that. But there's still a few current events to touch on.
I mean, depending on who you talk to, I don't know. Somehow, I don't know how this happens, but anytime like Chad Dagley posted the NRS Hoover deal, and Hoover, of course, put out a YouTube video with big red letters fired on it, and I watched the video just to see, what he's talking about, and it's basically just saying sometimes companies go different ways. You don't have to bash them or burn them down on the way out, but start entertaining new avenues. So I think that's pretty much him just saying, I'm shopping around. If anybody's got a PFD, holler at me. We're going to work on it. But just because somebody posts something like that on KBN, not everybody you can't just be like, oh, that group. I mean, there's 13,200 people in here, and that's not the whole, you can't say the whole group. I mean, there's as many people that like Chad as don't like Chad and defend him and attack him. I happen to, not have a lot of sympathy left myself. That's okay. That's fine. I think we're all entitled to our opinions. We've had different experiences in life, but you don't have to say the whole group is against something, because there's plenty of people like Chad, and that's fine. That's great. They keep, supporting and fishing KBF, and we're having one of them on tonight with Robert Weiker.
That's right. We don't discriminate on tourney winners or anything like that. And now these days, it's kind of, to me, that whole thing is kind of played out, and whatever he wants to do is whatever. It used to be that Chad's influence was not that he doesn't have great influence, but in the social media world, because he does have a huge following. But I mean, his influence in the tournament game and all that kind of stuff was a lot bigger. And now there's so many options. It's so spread out. It's like that. It's not a big deal. I'm not really worried about what he's doing or not doing, because anything that they do or say as an organization doesn't really affect most anglers, only the folks that are fishing over there. And that's fine. That's great.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. What else went down? We had some state champions, or I don't know if some championships happened yet, but we definitely had some Angler of the Year races wrap up and stuff like that.
The Bass Nation, man, the Tennessee Bass Nation, of course, Steve-O put on a great event. I think it was 80, I want to say 80-something anglers. I could be wrong on the number because I'm not good at keeping up with anything. But I went up there and ran a camera boat last Sunday. Me and Steve-O got out and took some pictures of some guys. Super thick fog, like just real cool kind of setup. AJ Porter, he fished it. Jay Wallen fished it. Jay was actually, Jay was rolling. I thought Jay was going to do it, man. I really did. I was hyped up watching him. But one of the local hammers, Chris Walters, I think he won by like 10 inches. He got on a good little grass bite, man, and he laid the wood down. Shout out to Chris. He's a member of our Tennessee Valley Kayak Anglers Club, and we got kind of a tough little bunch. We got Jody and Garrett Campbell, who both won huge trail events with KBF. Terry and Brad Golden, who hammer us week in and week out. We've got a pretty solid crew of fishermen. So seeing Chris up there, on the BASS stage, getting that trophy was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you did a fine job, by the way, with the live coverage on the Phoenix out there.
Dude, I swear, like we got to figure this thing out. Like that, to me, I have a great time doing it, but it's fun. Like I think it gets people engaged. Like you can see what's happening throughout the day, where people are, what they're doing, like how are they targeting these fish. One person may be frog fishing, one guy may be on the ledge with a spoon. Like you get to see and kind of in your mind that tells the story a little bit better of how it's going to play out.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I don't know how we make it happen. Obviously, it's not cheap to run a boat and get the equipment to pull it off. I'm sure. Were you streaming that from your phone through something else, or were you just using the phone, or what were you doing?
I was just using the phone, man.
Using the phone? But you had them steady hands? No.
Yeah.
No. But, something needs to happen, because it's a lot of fun to see that, as long as you have a place with good signal, and hopefully that can happen as time goes on.
We're going to keep growing, Jeff. We're going to get better. We're going to get a few dollars in our pocket. There ain't no telling what we might do.
Yeah. John Mooney said 2021 AOY East Texas kayak fishing to him. Big Moon.
Okay.
All right, Big Moon.
Shout out to yourself, Big Moon. I like it.
I like that.
It.
Yeah. I know there's some state classics and championships coming up the end of August and in September and October, of course. So we'll touch on that as that stuff comes around. What else we got, man, before we get Josh in here? We want to say something else.
Dude, Catherine Fields, she's on a podcast tonight, and one of the bullet points. It may not be tonight. I shouldn't say tonight because I didn't honestly look at the date again. But I saw on there like it was like the top rated female or highest placing female angler in the BOS series this year, and that really sank in. Like Catherine is like she's it this year. She's up there. Like she's doing the damn thing. That's right. Awesome. I love it. That is a great highlight. I appreciate the flex on that graphic. That was cool. And it's speaking truth. She did. Catherine has been grinding for years, and to see her finally top 3 qualify for the tournament already and then start climbing that AOI, it's pretty awesome. It's going to be fun to see her at the TOC. The TOC is such an experience in itself. Just the way Hobie puts on the show and rolls out the red carpet for the anglers. It's going to be awesome seeing Catherine be a part of that. Yeah, I know we got some more qualifiers for that coming up. KBF still got a few events left. Does Bass have one more left? Lacrosse in September or something like that. So there's still some big tournaments out there. Yeah, I think they do have a lacrosse left.
Yeah, but yeah, that's about all we got. You wanna get Josh in here and see what he has to say, man, about his big victory?
I guess.
Big hitter, big killer, tournament winner.
I guess we'll bring him in.
All right. Everybody, hang on a minute. We'll be right back with the Dark Waters. KBN Live is brought to you by Western Sun Vodka. Western Sun Vodka is a 10 times distilled, award-winning, gluten-free vodka. They are independently owned and crafted in Pilot Point, Texas.
Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
Boom. There it is.
Hey,
Josh.
What's up?
What's up, my man? I don't have the smooth tagline like you. You sound like Joe Rogan. What's
Rogan?
up, friends? Welcome to the Dark Waters. We got the Dark Waters in here tonight after the big W, man. Congrats.
You popping bottles? What?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still celebrating, guys.
Okay. All right.
I saw your post. You've been preparing all day.
All day, man.
What are you drinking? Pinot Grigio?
I don't know. It's like champagne.
Okay.
like
all right,
champagne?
fair enough. It's like this is going exactly how I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
I can't
This is something
disappoint.
like champagne. I don't know.
Yeah. Got it at the dollar store on the way in. I appreciate you, brother. It's good stuff. No, man, congratulations on the big win. And you caught a giant doing it. So how's it feel? How's it feel to be in the winner's circle?
Dude, it feels really, really, really good. I worked really hard this year. I've had actually a pretty decent year. A lot of good finishes. I'm speaking mostly like local and regional events, but still, it's been a long time coming as far as like just constantly getting my ass kicked and losing and losing and losing, and finally this year I don't know what it is, but shit just started making sense, and finally, at the end of pretty much almost the end of the season, I was able to put together, and not even on purpose. It's hard to even explain like how the tournament went because it didn't go planned at all. I had no idea that I was going to win until I won. It was a weird experience.
So tell us about the series, first of all, that you were fishing, and then go through the tournament itself.
So the Elite Kayak Fishing Series ran by Kim Wood, Adam Rourke, Jason Gardner. I think you had him on the show when they first started to kick this thing off, and it's just a Northeast, like a regional trail series. Pretty good payouts. I think I can't remember exactly what the percentage is, but I won. I didn't win, but I got fourth place like Cayuga and walked home with like almost $1,400. You know what I mean? So and that was with like 70-something people. So great payouts. There's a championship at Champlain in September that I qualified for, but it's good, man. It's gonna get bigger. It has to. It's just that the payouts are great. There's a lot of fun. Those guys are very transparent with what they're doing. We all know where the money's going, where it's coming from, and everyone who's doing it is really excited about it. And you're seeing a lot of like just the Northeast sticks are all in it. I mean, this past event, we had the Kim Wood, national champion, Matt Connett, Derek Brundle. Just numbers of really good anglers, and so it's been a really good trail. I missed two of the events. I was only able to do Cayuga in this one. But like I said, it's been a good year. There seems to be a lot of motivation behind it, and so I see it coming back, in the next few years too as well. So I don't know. I really wanted to do it this year. I did it. I'm excited and it paid off, man. I made a lot of money on Sunday or Saturday.
So where was this tournament?
All right, so I'm gonna butcher this name, but you can't really laugh because you guys would butcher it too. So I'm gonna say it once, and then we're just gonna call it Winnie. But it's the Winnipesaukee. Fuck that. It's just Winnie. All right, we'll just call it the Winnie, Lake Winnie in New Hampshire.
There it is. There she is.
Yeah. So I fished it before back in 2019 at a KBF event, and I did absolutely horrible. And to be honest with you, I don't like this lake at all. Like it's not a place I like to fish, but it's got smallmouth, largemouth. It's got grass. It's got deep water. It's got everything you want in the fishery. It's just every time we fish it, it's like in August, and it's just never like a great time for me. So
Lake Winnipesaukee, man.
Winnipesaukee. I think you said it right.
For sure. Yeah, no, I did. We actually have a theme park at home in Chattanooga named Lake Winnipesaukee, but that's how it's spelled, and that's how Southerners say it. So guaranteed.
Nice.
Do y'all have roller coasters there at this one, at that Lake Winnipesaukee?
Did not see roller coaster. There's a lot of people there though. It's
okay.
It's like I guess the biggest in New Hampshire and a lot of tourists. It was I don't know if you guys ever went. Well, we went to Candlewood, but it kind of reminded me of Candlewood as far as like the boat traffic. Like it was just like a washing machine effect in a lot of areas because the boats were just going round and round, and you're looking at like 4-footers, and it was insane for some of the people out there.
Candlewood's where they hammered those smallmouth, right?
Yeah. That was a tough day, but if you were on them, like you caught monsters, like just.
I like it.
Tell us about the tournament, man.
So you know, I guess I'll start with pre-fishing, right? Like it sucked. Nothing good happened in pre-fishing. You know, I didn't want to do this. Someone taught me into doing it, so I just did it. And I went there. I got there on early Thursday morning. Went out to the water. Found my grass spots. They weren't producing. Got the water early that day because I was tired. But then I went back Friday, and I realized that the stuff I wanted to fish just wasn't going to work. It's just one of those kind of lakes. Like I knew I was going to have to get offshore a little bit and find some of those rock piles. And I was able to find like just a bunch of smallmouth. Nothing that I was excited about, but I had something that I could work with. So I'm just like, at least I'm not going to here blind. So I came up with like a plan. Like I had 2-3 spots I was going to fish, and those were the only 2-3 spots I was allowed to fish. That was something that I told myself. You know, like no matter what, you can move to any of these 3 spots, but those are the only 3 spots you're allowed to fish. Because if you do anything else, you're going to lose your mind and you're going to lose it. So I stuck to the plan. You know, come game day, it was horrible. I was hungover. I ate a bunch of edibles the night before, so I was feeling weird. You know, it's just I was on the water. It took me 2 hours for me to get my shit together.
Are you people taking notes? Take notes, everyone.
This story. I like this.
Yeah,
it was horrible. It took me so for one, I didn't even get in the water at time because I was too busy trying to find a place to use the bathroom. So it took me I was 30 minutes late getting on the water. I'm hungover. I want to throw up. The edibles are still haven't completely got out of my system yet, so I'm floating to my spot. I get there, and I just couldn't find the groove. I was just out there just like, I don't know, just moving around a bunch. And then like finally 2 hours in, I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to fish. At that point, I decided that I was probably going to leave at noon. I was like, this is going exactly how I thought I was going to do. I'm going to stay here till noon. I'm going to get home early. I'm going to hang out with the kid, maybe grill some steaks, drink some beers, and be done with this lake. But around that time, like I was offshore, I was like at 30 feet. I was throwing a Ned rig out there, some rocks, and I felt something tug, and I'm like, I think I got one. So I freaking I set the hook, and it hit really hard at first, and then it kind of like gave up. So I'm like, gosh, it's probably just a drum or something like that. It's like I knew it was something big, but it wasn't like really fighting. But then as I was pulling it up, it kept trying to dig. And I'm like, that might be something. And then all of a sudden I see its head come out of the water. I'm like, holy shit, I'm gonna need a bigger boat. And then so I get it. I'm like, this is huge. It's a huge bass, and I pull it in. And look, I don't think I've ever caught a bass like this big, especially like this. And I remember there was the guy who took the picture for me, Kyle. I'm like, hey, who are you? He's like, Kyle. I'm like, Kyle, you have to come here. I just caught a tank. And then he gets over there, and I'm like, I was like, dude, I think this is huge. And I lifted it up and I showed him. He's like, oh, dude, that's fucking huge. And I'm like, dude. And so we get over there and measure it. It's like 22 and a half inches. And I'm like, damn, like this is amazing. And, we took a picture. I measured it. I'm freaking, yeah, dude, I'm pumped, dude. I was pumped, dude. I took the picture. I submitted it. I knew at that point I had to stay for the rest of the day because I just got a big bass. So I knew I was going to get at least $500 that day. But as soon as I released that thing,
$500 for big bass.
For big bass, man, dude, it was, dude. And I get a motor, a big speed motor, I think is what they're called. Yeah, because I got the biggest. Big bass? I got the biggest bass of the season.
Oh,
this was the last event. So
wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Flex.
Yeah.
Anybody just joining? I see new people joining. Share this because this is already hilarious, and I don't really see it going anywhere but up from here. So please share this. Josh, continue on. You caught big bass. So now you're stuck in a tournament.
I'll tell you this though, like this fish was really special to me. Not just because it was big, but I'm not a finesse guy. And to be honest with you, I'm not that great of an angler. You know what I mean? Like I'm only like a few years into this shit. And I caught this. Like I was using like small tackle, like 6-pound tests, at 30 feet. And it was a tough. Like I had to do all these fancy. I'm not sure if it's the right thing to do. It felt right, and I'm doing this weird like ballerina shit with a fishing rod. If anyone's, I put a video and I look ridiculous, but I guess that's how you finesse fish. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know.
It is now, by God, that's how you do it now.
Yeah, but I learned how to finesse fish at the Susky. If you can handle one of those, beasts on light tackle, it kind of sets you up for this. But still, it was just like the fact that I got that boat 30 feet from the bottom on a Ned rig on like 6-pound test. I was stoked. I'm like, I might have something here.
6-pound test?
Yeah.
They make bigger tests where you're at. Why are you using 6?
I don't know, man. Like I have a spinning rod with 6 and 8, and that's all I have. That's those are the only 2 I have. So, up here, I figured we have a lot of clear water.
Right there.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we have a lot of clear water, so I thought I was going to end up having the drop shot, which I don't really know how to do that well at some point. So that was kind of why I had that on there. But the Ned rig worked. That's all I used the whole day was the Ned rig for the most part.
That's all you need. I mean, honestly,
dude,
ever.
I don't know why the story sounds familiar with hangovers, late to the ramp, Ned rigs. It seems like I've heard it before somewhere. I don't know.
Listen, there's a formula to catch up. People don't want to listen to it, but it's there. Every time.
Yeah, but I got that fish up there. I was excited. I thought I was going to have some momentum, and then I didn't get another fish for like 2 hours. And so at that point, I was like, I'm probably gonna go home at noon still, and they can just mail me the check. And so I was ready to give up, and then I caught like a 13 and a quarter or 3/4. I'm like, I mean that helps, but I'm still like at that point, I'm just like, this is gonna be a shitty day. I got a big bass, so it wasn't that disappointed. And then I moved to another spot. I started flipping some grass, and then me and smallmouth are weird. Like we have like a weird relationship. We never find each other like in the right places. You know what I mean? Like I never find them like.
Where do y'all meet up? Like truck stops?
Oh no, I found him. I found him in like thick grass, like just flipping, and they're just not really where I was always taught where they'd be. Usually it's supposed to be like offshore, 20 feet, drop shotting or something like that. But I'm over there like flipping like a like a 3/4 flipping weight with like a I don't know, like some kind of trick worm or something. I can't remember what I had on it, but I mean it hit hard. And it jumped. It did a few backflips out of the water. Jumped at me. I had to catch it with the net. It was 16.5, and so at that point I'm like, 3 fish. This isn't a horrible day, but I still only had like 2 hours left at this point. I'm like, can I do this? And so I was getting desperate. And then I moved to an area that I didn't want to fish at all. But all my other areas just weren't working. So I had this last spot, and it was really crazy because I was going to go there, or I was going to go to the shallow water that just looked sexy, but there's never any fish there. I fished it like 3 days in a row and never got anything out of there, but it just looked good. I could throw a frog, I could flip or punch or whatever. But I'm just like, no, if you go over there, it's just going to be disappointing, and you have no idea what's going to happen at this spot. So just go see what happens here, spend an hour there. If nothing happens, and then you can go to your shitty spot and lose the day there. And so I went to this area, first cast, I get a 17-inch, off a Ned rig. It was just some rocks, some deep rocks. And I'm like, holy shit, all I need is one fish. And I looked at the score. Like, all I had to do was get, I think 86 was leading. And at this point, all I had was, I had 69 inches. And I was like, damn, dude, if I just get a 12, 13-inch fish, I might be in the money. I wasn't planning for anything bigger or anything like that because the last hour was coming up, and I'm like, nothing ever good happens to me in the last hour. It just doesn't. Like, it's just, I'm not one of those guys who improves. The last hour, it just sucks. It just sucks for me. And so I was always thinking, if I could just catch one of those tiny smallmouth that are in here, everything will be good. And then, I threw a Ned rig at like 12:58 right before they shut the board down, and dude, something hit it hard, and I pull it, it jumps out of the water. I'm like, holy shit, it's a giant. And then I bring it up, I get in the boat. It's a 19.5. And I'm like, whoa, shit. And so, but I didn't realize what happened at that point. I'm still thinking like I'm dumb too. So the math that I was doing was only for 12 inches. I wasn't expecting like additional 7 inches. So I had no idea that what just happened there. And so I'm sitting there like, I'm like, yeah, this is great, man. Like I might be in the money. And so I measure the fish, take a picture, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, 19 inch, 19.5, that changes
12?
thing.
12 plus 7 minus 19.
I called my wife and I gave her the numbers. I'm like, can you add this up for me? And she did. She's like, oh, you got.
She was shocked by the inches.
She was like, you got 80, 88 3/4. I'm like, babe, I think I just won this shit. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, I think the big was like 86 inches. And so, I'm like, I think I won. And it took me forever for it to kind of sink in. Because everyone talks about like that magical moment when you hook the fish, and you said it too, like when you won the TOC, like you just know, you get emotion. I don't know if it was the hangover, the edibles, or what, but I had no idea. Like I didn't have that special epiphany, that feeling that, oh, I did it. This was the magical fish. I was still trying to do like mathematics in my head, and
I was going to say it's because you can't do math. That's why
I can't do math. So yeah, that's all it was. If I knew how to do math, I would have been a lot more excited.
He caught that 19 and thought, all right, I got 75 inches. Let's cash this check, brother.
Cash this check. But, it was weird because, like, the whole day, like, everyone else was crushing it. Like, I looked at the leaderboard, like, the first hour in, and, like, I think Ferreira, my buddy Ferreira, John Ferreira, he was already up to, like, 84 inches first thing in the morning. And I'm like, and everyone's just, like, they got that smallmouth bite, that offshore bite, and they're out there just crushing it, but they're not getting really big fish. They're just getting, like, those 16, 15 inches. And, he had a few 18s, but I just like, dude, everyone's out there crushing it. It's, I'm catching a fish, like one fish every 2 hours. I didn't have like any confidence that this was going to work out for me because it never does. You know what I mean? There was not a moment where I was just like, dude, I'm doing so good. It's just like, but every time I wanted to quit, like a weird miracle would happen. They kept me on the water. And, it was a weird day. I pulled it out of my ass, and it was weird because I won off largemouth. No one thought that was going to be done, that going to be able to do. But you know what's funny though? If you catch a 22.5-inch fish, that's like two fish in one fish. You know what I mean? That's like that's a big deal. And then it didn't occur to me that like that's you can catch a few small fish and you're going to be okay.
That's maybe the best tournament recap of all time. So,
got this shit. We're done. Turn it off.
Robert, we're about to slide Robert in here. He's gonna have to follow this up, and I got some questions for him.
Right? Heat, son. You better bring some heat.
Oh, Josh, that is an awesome story, and we're so glad you won, man. I know Ryan and I have both been a guest on the Dark Waters. It's an awesome podcast in general and hilarious, and
I'm sorry, man, I'm not more entertaining on your podcast. I feel like I really need to step it up next time.
Eat some edibles, man. Grab some edibles.
Apparently, that's what I'm missing.
Yeah. I'm sure there's gonna be more.
That was my day, man. It was my first win. It's a pretty big check. I think I walked away with total like $2,700 plus a motor. I'm not sure about the whole Bixby thing. I've never really heard of them before this, but I got a motor. I got a motor now. So
when you were a kid and you used to take a straw and blow bubbles in your bathwater.
Yeah,
it's like that.
All right. Well, I mean, that was fun.
Kidding.
Hey, those Bixby's actually work pretty good on that Old Town prop. So we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about your boat later.
But yeah, man.
Greg Blanchard used to run a Bixby all the time.
Yeah.
For real. It's true.
All right. What do y'all say we bring Robert in here? Let him get in on this fun. He's been patiently waiting in the green room, and we got some more questions for Josh, I'm sure. Josh is going to stick around, so we're going to have 3 interviewers for the interviewee, possibly here. So hang on just a second. Let me click them in. All right, Robert, welcome. Yeah, I've seen you laughing.
I'm out. I can't.
You're out? Ah.
Just make up stuff.
For the show, it's over. You guys might as well call it a night with that guy.
Yeah.
He's a pro.
Yeah,
He's a pro.
Ryan Valentine had the same question I was going to ask is when you won East West Harbor for the second year in a row, were you high or did you eat edibles before the tournament?
That's my edibles in the truck.
Oh, still won. That's even more impressive. You still won the tournament.
So tell us about, you kind of, in my mind, you were the favorite going back into that one. Did you fish the same area that you wanted in the year before? Were you pretty comfortable? Like, this is about time, right? I think my fish are still going to be, kind of in the same deal that they were last year.
Man, like 4 years ago, whenever I moved here, I went up to Lake Erie with my buddy, and we ended up finding that spot. And now it's over. It's going to be Grand Central Mall for the next year. So I'm going to get away. I fished there 8 tournaments and cashed 7 checks. Within 100 yards of where I was sitting in that tournament. We went up there a week early. I went out to practice. I went right to that spot, made 3 casts, caught a 19.25 or a 19.75. I don't remember. And then I made another cast and caught a 17-something. I was like, well, I'm going to win. So I went back to the boat ramp and spent the next 6 days actually practicing for my buddies that were coming up a couple days later. So
You're a good man.
It's a spot that you can't see on a map. You can't see it on a graph. It's just there. And it was just it's just that day. I knew I was going to win it. I told my daughter I was going to win it. And it just happened.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but your family was there watching, right? They were on the bank, like, during the whole thing.
Yeah, they were there last year whenever I won the same one. And my my daughter didn't get to make it. And then this year, she got to make it. And I told her the day before the tournament, I said, Hannah, I said, I'm going to win this tournament. And she said, Dad, she said, you ain't got to win this tournament. She said, I'm proud of you anyways. You're the best fisherman in the world. And I was like, man, you got to stop talking. That dad can't handle that kind of talk.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they were at the end of the tournament. I was heading toward the boat ramp, and when I got to my last spot was right by the ramp. I just had like a little bailout spot just to try to cold fish, and they were all lined up on the bank when I got there, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was an awesome.
That's
picture, man.
Mark Pendergraft has a spot like that right there by the boat ramp. that's where he likes to fish in general.
Everybody's got a spot at East West Harbor right by the boat ramp, but it's just a little deep hole there that every once in a while can hold one. I mean, the last tournament we fished up there, I was blank till 11:30, and I ended up calling 9 inches sitting in front of the boat ramp in the last hour. It was just
start casting at the boat ramps more often.
Sometimes I just stack up there, but yeah, it was a pretty cool tournament.
Yeah, we were talking. We wanted to have you on when that went down. We've had we had the charity thing going on for a couple of weeks, and we couldn't get you on right then. But we're glad we got you on now to talk about this. I'm not familiar with that water up there. I don't know if you've ever been up there, Ryan. Have you?
No, man.
Every time I hear Northern Ohio or wherever, I'm thinking smallmouth and stuff like that, and I'm looking at nothing but largemouth on these pictures. So, what kind of fishery is that up there?
It's just Ryan. You remember Marion County Park?
5 minutes from my driveway. I remember it well.
You take Marion County Park and you pick it up off the map and you stick it on Lake Erie. That's it.
Really?
And Marion County is one of my favorite places in the world to fish, and it's just like it. I mean, heck, the last time I fished with you was Marion County Park. That was the last tournament I fished right before I moved here. And it's just a giant, absolutely huge grass flat. It's 7 foot deep everywhere. It's just nothing. Like I said, the spot I fish is just something I stumbled across one day in a bass boat. I watched a guy catch a 4-pounder. He left. His tournament was over at 3:00. I rolled over there and with my buddy in his bass boat. I caught a 6 right off the bat, and I was like, "That's cool. We're gonna mark this spot." And it's really nothing. It's just a giant, huge grass flat, and there's just a spot in the spot. And I honestly couldn't even tell you what it is. I don't know what it is.
Well, how did they? Because I know they opened up some more of the big lake, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of people go out there and try to hammer the smallmouth?
There was a bunch of people out there, and I'm tell you what. In practice, I took my kids out there just to go catch drum because I wanted to put them on. You can go out to Lake Erie in the middle of the lake, catch drum all day, put the kids on some big fish. Man, I was just yanking a blade bait, just messing around. I lost over 20 largemouth. I caught like a 19, a 17 and a half. This is 2 days before the tournament starts. Now my head's like, we're fish. I'm out here whacking fish on a blade bait, the largemouth in the main lake, not supposed to be there.
Right.
Rushing them, fishing for drum. So I was like, I told my wife, I was like, what do I do? She said, don't be dumb. Yes, ma'am.
Both y'all's wives coming in clutch, it sounds like.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you know you're on something and you go just messing around somewhere else and you start whacking largemouth on a freaking blade bait in the middle of summer.
Yeah, that could ruin your life.
I didn't know what to do. I was like, all right, well, okay. This ain't working. We got to get out of here.
What were you catching them on in the grass?
A 10-inch red shad, old monster.
So that would answer the question for me. If I had to bet on anything with treble hooks, I would rather bet on something else. That would solve that problem real quick.
Last year I won flipping a menace grub in just heavier patches of grass. Like I had to work for it last year. This year I hit spot lock and just kept casting in the same spot. But last year we had to put in. I mean, last year was tough, but still. You want to hear something funny? My buddy came up to fish like a month before the tournament to practice. My other buddy that was with him caught an 18-incher, and he comes over to Kyle and he's like, "Hey, Kyle, you take my picture?" And Kyle said, "Yeah, but you got to show me what you caught it on." That largemouth he caught puked up a 10-inch worm in the floor of his boat, and he was just messing around. He grabbed the one that puked up, and he's like, "Hey, this is what I caught it on." So then Kyle tells me, he's like, "Hey, man," he said, "I caught or Stahlbaum caught a big one on a 10-inch worm." And I was like, "What color?" He said, "It's kind of pink." I said, "All right." I went out and bought a bunch of red shadow monsters just on a whim. I've never thrown a big worm there in my life. And that first day of practice I was telling you about, that's what I caught him on. If it wasn't for him, and he was lying to Kyle, if it wasn't for him lying
Karma.
I told Stahlbaum, because me and him finished first and third in the same spot. when it's over with, I said, "Hey man, did you see what I was catching them on?" He's like, "No," because every time I brought my bait in, I was like turning my back, not letting him see it. Everything I caught, I was hiding it in the boat. I said, "Dude, I caught it on the 10-inch worm that the fish puked up in your boat." He's like, "Are you kidding me? That's a $5,000 worm." I was like, "Yep, sure was."
That's too funny.
It's hard to beat an old monster, man.
I told them boys when they told me that, I said, "I'm from Tennessee. I can drag a big worm with the best of them." I didn't think I'd be
hard to beat an old monster.
Never thought I'd be doing it in Ohio.
So tell everybody, fill us in on the history of, you've been in this game for a long time. When I first started kayak fishing, you were fishing these local tournament trails that we have around the Chattanooga area. Tell us about that and kind of how the sport's evolved, in your eyes from where you're at now.
2015, I fished my first tournament. It was with KBFTN, and it was the Cold Hands Classic. And Ron Champion was there in an Ultimate 12. Craig Dye was there in a Wilderness something. I don't remember what he was in. And I was there in a CUDA 14. And we were talking about this the other day, talking about how much it evolved. I showed up with a Lowrance 4. I think it was Elite 4 TI. And everybody was paddling except for one guy. I don't remember who it was pedaling. And everybody was like, "Oh, man, check that dude out." Dude rolled up in some pedals. And everybody was like, "Oh, my God." Like, this guy was a hero. But that was my first kayak tournament ever. And when I showed up that day, those guys jumped on board. They helped me unload my boat. They made me feel like a freaking superstar. And I had nothing. I had 3 rods. And nothing. 1 tackle box, 3 rods, and a little tiny unit. I mean, my cell phone's bigger than my unit was now. But that was it.
Careful.
All right,
say
then.
That.
Okay.
Remember what page you're on.
Back to fishing.
Okay, we'll get back to fishing. I mean, right now I got a 9-inch screen, so I mean.
Okay, all right, you're back.
Don't flex.
So yeah, I mean it went. That year I hit it really hard. I fished every tournament I could find, and I won Angler of the Year with Southern Mid Tennessee Kayak Anglers. I fished with Chattanooga guys, fished Gunnersville. I traveled. I don't know how many thousands and thousands of miles I traveled, and then I started Central Tennessee Kayak Anglers because I got tired of driving so far. I lived in Cookeville, and there was nothing near us, but I was right between Center Hill and Dale Hollow Lake. We had 2 of the best lakes in the state, and had to drive all over the place to go fish anywhere else. So just so happens I hadn't won a tournament yet, and then my first tournament ever that I ran, I won. Whoops. And got a big bass that day. So, but that started all of it, and then a couple years later, I moved to Ohio. Not the smartest move of my life.
I moved away from Ohio, Robert. I live in Arkansas now.
Bass fishing, man. I'm in Southeast Ohio. I'll tell you what, I fished a river tournament the other day with 166 people in a bass boat, and 7 pounds won.
Man.
Was it on the Ohio River?
Yeah, good guess.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
7 pounds. I mean,
you can catch them there. You can catch them anywhere. That's for sure.
And I mean, if you look at the leaderboards on the national trails and stuff, there's a lot of guys from this area, from Ohio. And
I was just going to say that, like, Ohio's got a lot of, like, they're actually doing really good in most of the rankings right now.
Yep, there's a lot of guys. I mean, 2 of your national champions in KBF.
I was going to say, it doesn't Smitty fish the Ohio River quite a bit. Maybe not for bass, but for striper quite a bit, I think.
I'd stay out of that place. I can see it from my house just about. I hate it.
you learn to grind on places like that, you know?
You definitely do. Lake Erie's a 4-hour drive from me, and we got a spot not far from where I live that we went and fished the other day, and I told my buddy, I said, we drove an hour to get here. We fished for 7 hours. We caught 2 fish. We drive an hour home. We could have drove 4 hours to Lake Erie, caught 75 fish in an hour, and drove 4 hours home. So, I mean, it's not. I mean, I moved here because my daughter lives here, and she was growing up, and you can't be dad 500 miles away. So,
yeah.
Let me ask you this, Robert. Let me ask you this real quick, because we were having a side combo earlier. Have you been to any of the Ohio Pay Lakes?
Actually,
I was like, wait a minute, what's he talking about? Then I just remembered.
run in Ohio Pay Lake.
You what?
I used to run in Ohio Pay Lake.
Yeah.
When I was 18 years old, when I first moved here the first time, I actually commercial fished Gunnersville for catfish and transferred them from there up to Ohio. This is not the highlight of my life. I would never do this again, by the way. So, but that's what I did for 2 years when I was 18, 19, and 20. I traveled all over the place, caught big giant catfish, hundreds and thousands of pounds, traveled around, dumped them in pay lakes, and I was that piece of garbage.
Now,
But
I don't know how, they say it's a small world. There's no way you were taking those to Rainbow Lake and putting them in that pain lake.
as a matter of fact, I put probably 18,000 pounds in Rainbow Lake.
Let's go. How about that, man? How about that? I spent a lot of my vagrant childhood at Rainbow Lake and different places around that part of Ohio.
You've heard of Catfishman's Paradise?
That's right, man.
That's
Crazy.
the lake. And it's right down the street from my house. I ran it for 2 years. So the
Rainbow Lake?
No, Catfishman's Paradise.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Cool story. We got off track, Ryan. We're Catfish Nation now.
No, I mean I love it. Y'all keep rolling with that. We'll get Kayak Catfish on here one night.
Oh,
He'll
yeah.
educate us.
Dude, that guy's cool. I like watching this stuff.
He is cool. I had no idea that he existed. Period. And Eric Thomason brought him down to the Seminole tournament to fish Soapy, and he's like, "This is Kayak Catfish." And I was like, "Who is Kayak Catfish?" So then, of course, I had to watch his YouTube videos, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, yeah, he's out here just slaying big uns on some cut bait.
He went from being an RN to a full-time YouTuber just catching catfish. I mean,
I hate to give Fluke Master any credit, but he went from being a damn X-ray tech to running around, YouTubing for a living.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. See, we got some questions in here. I don't know what this means. I'm going to throw it on the screen. You see this, Josh? This is for you.
Dude, that Brian Van, dude, he's a pervert. All right, don't take any of his questions.
What?
He is disgusting. Next question.
So what happened?
I don't know how dark you guys can get on this, but it's not appropriate at all.
I know he called into the show with no shirt on. I do remember that. So.
Dude, like the first time I met him, he was wearing like a Daisy Duke overalls. It was.
That's what he wore to the BOS board check. That's the first
that's what I saw. Yeah, I saw you guys. I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, and he must squat or something too, man, because he's like his backing was filling out those shorts pretty well. So I
feel like he squats a lot.
Yeah,
several times a day. Or better.
Oh my.
Okay. We took a turn.
That's all right, Ryan. You predicted this before the show started, so
I did. No,
on track.
I knew this may be it for us right here.
No, it's been one of the greatest shows ever.
We're
talking about Rainbow Lake and edibles before tournaments. It's been one of the best shows ever, in my opinion.
The night before the tournament. I don't want everyone to think that I'm over there abusing substances. The night before the tournament.
Who knows what the rules up there at the Northeast are, man?
Jim Clark he'll sell you out. He's a snitch. Jim Clark he'll file a protest.
Jim Clark. Seen him in a long time.
Jim Clark. Yes, that one.
Oh boy.
I don't know if he's watching or one of his burners is watching, but he may be checking this out at some point.
He got me put in jail last week.
Was that the guy that reported you?
You know it was.
All right.
I started to message you. You sent me a friend request on This Is Not Ryan, and I was like, wait a minute. So
I got thrown in Facebook jail last week because I said Joey Randall and Jim Clark had ugly ass eggheads. So they threw me in Facebook jail. And I'm like, that's a fact. Like, who can argue with that?
I started watching who all our mutual friends were first to see who they were, and I waited till you had like 24 mutual friends to get people, and I was like, all right, this is
Bob Baylor. Look at Bob's comment. This is 10,000 times better than reading some drama on whether a tournament on Mille Lacs is feasible. That's hilarious.
Listen, Bob, I would actually love to see a tournament on Mille Lacs, to be honest with you. Somebody probably had to drive me there, but I would love to see one up there.
You know what? Seriously, I want to go down that rabbit hole too. But I've always wanted to go fish up there. But the problem with tournaments up there is I think if the wind gets up, it's automatic cancel. If it starts blowing hard and then they got to move you to some small lake, I don't know that they have a harbor or any place they can put you in if the wind gets up, or you can get away from it like on the big lakes over there in Michigan and Ohio. I could be wrong, but I think that's one of the big problems. Any more questions from anybody? It's been a hilarious night. Josh, what do you got coming up on Dark Waters, man? You got some new stuff coming out soon?
No, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's it's kind of like just fire at the hip. I find someone and we do an episode. So I don't really have anything planned. This week's gonna be kind of I'm gonna do anything this week. I got too much other stuff going on, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll probably get Robert or someone to come on the show soon. So
There you go. I know, you're shotgunning beers on Instagram at lunch and figuring out who you're going to interview at night. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's tough because like there's so many podcasts right now. It's I let all the good podcasts take all the good guests, and I try to find the B guys, to bring them on.
Wait a minute, I've been on twice.
I know, but literally asked me to come on last week and canceled on me. You jackass.
Well, we canceled on each other.
You're a C guy. I guess you're a C guy. He was canceled on not Ryan Lambert, not the Ryan Lambert.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
What rods were you using? That's what Slay Nation wants to know.
Oh, I was using my my sponsor's rod, the Sticks fishing rods.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Somebody asked about Robert's baits.
Ryan Van Tine wants to hear about Line Out Custom Tackle.
So we want to hear about what?
Line Out Custom Tackle. Not you.
Oh, that's not me. That's
damn. Tell us, Robert. Tell us about it.
Well, Line Out Custom Tackle has slowed way down because of COVID, which has made me go from a 3-year hiatus to back to tournament fishing. So, because I took for 4 years, ever since I left Tennessee and went straight full-time painting baits. And I've been painting baits full-time for 4 full years. And let me tell you, I actually had to start subbing out some work. I was so busy, I couldn't see the light of day. And to be completely honest with you, it was affecting my whole life. Like, it was affecting everything in my life. I wasn't tournament fishing. That's stupid. So when COVID hit, which was a blessing in disguise, I couldn't get supplies, so I had to shut things down. Not completely. Like, I still paint a lot, but not as much. And so I got this. Since I had free time again, I started tournament fishing again. And honestly, I kind of found myself again because I kind of got lost in just work. Like, I worked every day till 3 a.m, go to bed, get up at 7. Painting baits. I was painting thousands of baits a week, hitting all these big contracts. I worked for Buka for a while, painted 650 baits for him for the Classic 2 years ago, and we just got so freaking busy. And then you start going how much money you're making on how many hours you're working. I was making about $3.50 an hour. So
everybody wants to work in the industry until you're actually working in the industry. And then all the fun part is gone. Like, it's not, and you talk to pro anglers and a lot of them are like, man, I used to really enjoy fishing until it's a job. Like, if your name's not up there and you're not getting a check for it, like that's when the tides kind of turn on you, I think.
Well, I switched over to working for a swimming pool company that I worked for about 10 years ago for 5 years. And they know that I tournament fish. They know my life, and they work around everything I want to do. Like, they're a great company to work for. We build a lot of pools, and I stay really busy with them. But when I need time off to go to a tournament, I'm gone. There's no questions asked. They let me go, and they pay me really well for it. And they're, like I said, an incredible company to work for. And all the guys out there that are wanting to work for yourself, you're never guaranteed a paycheck. Right now, I get paid every freaking other Friday, and I know I'm getting that money, and I ain't got to worry about it. I don't have to hustle it. It's always there. So, but this winter, we are working with a few names in the industry. There's a few things coming out.
Uh-oh.
Be changing directions from painting to maybe building a few things to painting things. I don't know. There's some pretty big news maybe dropping here. And let's say about January, hopefully.
Maybe we'll have Robert. Maybe we'll have you back. Yeah, maybe we'll have you back, Robert.
We definitely got some going on. We dabbled in building for a little while, and it went pretty good, but we got so busy painting I didn't have time to build. Well, now that I've slowed down the painting scene, I got a little more time to build, so we'll see.
Ryan, that makes me think of something we saw earlier I think it was today on the page, the guy talking about it was going to cost him $40,000 if he wanted to fish kayak tournaments for the year.
What?
He made some long reply to a post about the cost of fishing tournaments and said it would cost him $40,000 in expenses and fees. And
Jesus.
What Airbnb is he staying at?
I think what he was saying is that he would need $40,000 a year to be able to live. I think because I have astronomical bar tabs and stay in hotels and travel all over the place, and I still don't spend $40,000 a year doing this stuff, and I try hard. Like,
Now, what I was going to say about it is really the key is not how much money you have; it's what kind of situation. Like Robert has a great situation with who he works for. The company understands his his passion for fishing and allows that kind of time off. And if you're financially and fiscally responsible, it's not that expensive. So I don't know where that guy was coming from, but it just made me think of that. It's a lot of it has to do with your situation. Do you have little kids that you can leave? Do you have a job that'll let you go?
Maybe he's talking about quitting everything and go fish. I mean, if I quit everything that I do and went fishing and covered expenses, I don't think 40 grand would cover it. Really?
I mean,
No.
like 65. Yeah.
It'd be
If he meant that, then he was undershooting it. But I thought he meant just to fish that and live his life. But
I mean, he could have. I don't know. I just can't imagine 40 grand being that number. Because, I mean, we have people that do it now. We have people, living at campgrounds and whatnot, just chasing these trails around, pre-fishing for weeks at a time. Like, we have that happening now. Like, it's not a foreign concept, but I highly doubt they're spending 40 grand a year to do it. I don't think that's what's going on.
Could you really imagine 6 years ago that we'd have guys that are fishing full time in a kayak?
Well, I mean, depending on what you're trying to get out of it, I never imagined that we would be having the consistency of the payouts that we are now. Because used to see 10 grand plus in a payout, you were fishing like a KBF Open on Kentucky Lake that happened, once a year, or Toledo Bend. You know what I'm saying? Like to see regular ass tournament stops now paying out 10 grand per stop. I mean, that's impressive. Like I never thought that I never thought that. Did you ever think you'd be sitting here on a podcast with me, Robert?
No.
I know you didn't. Like, I mean, like none of this was ever kind of in the cards when you look at it, 5-6 years ago, but it's growing and it's going to continue to grow. And I think the more attention that we all bring to it, Josh included, like the more attention that we bring and the more we get the word out there, the more eyeballs and sponsors it's going to pull in. And you're going to see these numbers keep going up. And 5 years from now, we will be sitting here talking about $50,000 payouts, $60,000 payouts per trail stop is what we're going to be talking about.
I think, yeah, you're right.
And the thing is, even the pros don't make a living from fishing tournaments. They make a living from exposure and other. I mean, some of them you hit a check and win 125K. That obviously helps, but in general, they don't make a living fishing tournaments. They fish tournaments, but there's a lot more to it than just that. And we've got some kayak anglers that are figuring that out.
Oh, for sure. The marketing piece is huge. If you don't have the marketing piece, you're not going to be able to afford a life, a real life. Like you can't, even if you win 80% of the tournaments you enter, you're still not going to be able to like have a decent quality of life, just running around all the time trying to fish these tournaments. Like, that's why people, you hear like when we had Mike on, building your brand, and we've heard this from Chad, from Gene, like from the beginning, building your brand. That is what's going to sell you. It's not necessarily honestly, these companies don't go to Tourney X and freaking Conrad up your profile and see your win-loss ratio. Like, nobody gives a shit about that when it comes down to it. Like, it's how marketable you are, and that's the influence, that's the reach that you bring.
Yeah, just this year, man, Bass Pro cut a bunch of very fine tournament anglers out of their marketing budget because that's all they did was fish tournaments, and they dropped them like a rock and picked up a bunch of YouTubers. They want the influence.
That's what I ran into when I was running my business. I had so many people that were wanting pro staff spots. Everybody wants pro staff spot all the time, and I would give a few guys here and there, but I always kept a really, really close tab on what they were selling, what they were doing, and I kick them quick. I wouldn't keep them very long if they weren't doing anything besides just thinking, well, just because I won first place yesterday on one of your baits. Did you tell anybody about it? Nope. Did you sell any? Nope. Do you think you're just going to ride that way because you're good? I don't care how good you are. Yeah. Some of my best guys, my best salesmen I had guys sell $5,000 in baits in a year. That's a lot at $9 a bait. Actually, that's a lot at wholesale, $550 a bait. And he never won a tournament. Like, I don't care if you win. And I tried to tell people that so many times, but people don't understand that just because you're the best guy in the world, if you can't sell, anything, then it ain't going to do you no good.
There's a few examples I won't drop of guys that are hella good anglers that place high often and win money that don't have any sponsor support just because people don't listen to them. And they got to listen to you and believe you. That's just the way it is. Somebody tagged David Cruz down there. I don't know why.
I don't know. I saw that. Maybe David's in some hot water.
I don't know. My man, the DOJ, the KBN DOJ. Yeah. Any more questions for these guys? It's been hilarious. Now we've taken like 5 different turns with the subjects we've been talking about.
Don't worry. One day I'm gonna get really good at this fishing shit. We could talk more about fishing.
No, it's more fun to talk about the other stuff. It's more fun. It's more fun to talk around it.
Instead, I got to throw in like my substance abuse issues that I have.
I tried to quit the tournament 6 times.
That'd be a great YouTube thumbnail, Josh.
What?
Like throw some edibles on the thumbnail in like capital letters or something.
Tried to quit 6 times. One tournament.
First word edible, 6,000 views in 24 hours.
Yeah, that'd be it, man. Josh, do you have a beer handy?
Yeah, man.
Can you shotgun one for us?
Who wants?
Lance Burris.
I'll do anything for Lance Burris.
All right.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me get you up here. There we go.
All right. At some point, I gotta stop doing this shit. I'm almost 40.
Yeah, you're good. Keep going, player.
Kill it, kid. Live on Kayak Bass Nation. My man. Hats off.
Round of applause.
I would do that, but I can't. So,
dude, it's getting old. Like I'm not as young as I used to be, man. At least it hurts when I do that. Like
I just opened one, but I can't shotgun it. I was hoping y'all would.
Well, it's like one of those things I started, and then all of a sudden I had to keep doing it. It's like when you put it out there, and ever since now it became like a trend. Everyone started like sending me videos of them shotgunning beer, and I'm like, dude, I hope I didn't ruin anyone's life at the same time. Like
nah, it'll be fine. Just make sure they're of age.
Ryan, if we get another rent house for a tournament in a neck of the woods where Josh may be, we need to make sure that we're all in the same one. That'd be a good time for the weekend.
Only if we do a live podcast on.
Yeah, we will. We'll do a big mashup. Maybe we can pull in somebody else too. Find one of the paddle and fin dudes or something.
How far do we have to go? What's your range, Josh? How far do you roam?
Next year's gonna be better. This year I play it safe. But next year I'm gonna go down south a lot more, especially in the early season, and then I don't know, probably take 2 or 3 of the early events, and then I'll stay in the Northeast for the rest of the season probably.
Where are you from, Josh?
I'll be at Susky 1,000% sure. 1,000.
Dude, the Suskies there again. I'm absolutely going back to that.
I think I have to go to that one next year.
Dude, like that is the only
that one.
Dude, that has to be whatever you call it. Like it has to happen. That is the greatest place I've ever fished.
I think that will be the first Hobie event to cap out. I think it will. I really do. I think you'll see it hit 200 anglers if they have it there again next year.
What'd you guys have last?
What
was it this last time?
140?
140.
Yeah, 141.
It's only 3 freaking hours for me. I got to go fish it next year. I talked about it last times and I didn't go because it lands right on another one of our local tournaments.
Skip your local tournament. I don't care, dude. Those fish are so hateful. They're so strong. They're in current. And they're predictable for the most part.
And there's a lot of
river fishing, man. It's current breaks, it's grass lines. The population of fish is so healthy that if I had one tournament to pick all of next year, it would be the Susky.
See, this year it landed literally. It was 4 days after Lake Erie. I would have had to leave to go up there, and I was already at Lake Erie for a week. So I was like, all right, I'll stay back one more time. But I think next year I'll probably fish it. I got to.
Jody Queen, the champion himself, says 139. That's a hint. Jody wants you to come down, Robert. That's what that means.
61 more to cap out. That's not much. We can do that.
No.
I may have to fly there. It's a 20-hour drive for me. I don't know if I can drive all that way, man. I can fly in, though.
Drive to Tennessee and ride with me from here.
There we go. I don't know if Ashley would let me do that or not.
She probably shouldn't.
I'm just kidding. I got one more question for Josh before we wrap this thing up here in a minute. How you liking that boat, man?
The boat, it's awesome. It's a game changer. It's stable. That boat is so fast, and that's I think what I really like about it. I can move like just cruising. So like when I was hungover and still coming down, I was still moving at like 4 miles an hour, and that's like me holding on for dear life so I didn't fall off the planet. But yeah, I mean, it's a fast boat. It's stable. I'm a big fan. I guess I should say thank you because you're the one that taught me into getting it. But yeah, man, huge fan.
And what kind of boat is it?
Yeah,
It's the Big Water, the Old Town Big Water.
Old Town Big. Does it help your circulation with your legs being above your ears?
I was waiting on you, Lambert.
It's coming.
I mean,
shit ain't free out here, Jeff. Nothing's free,
I'm always listening to you Hobie guys. I had to get a plug in.
yeah.
Bottom line, Josh loves the boat. Right,
I love the
Josh?
boat.
What kind of boat are you in, Robert? I already know, but tell everybody else.
I'm in a new canoe pursuit this year. I fished out of a new canoe a couple times, or I fished 2015. I fished in one all year in a pursuit, and then I was in numerous other boats in between. Then last year, well, what is that? Last year I was.
You can tell the story. You can tell
Hey,
the
it's
story.
your
We're
fault.
not
'Cause I
shy
got a message. I can show you about it.
here.
I didn't buy it till you told me to, sucker.
That was pre-merger.
Around here, so
I thought they were gonna fix it. That's my bad. Damn.
that was like sitting in a swimming pool all day. And so then I went back to my new canoe, and honestly, of all the boats I've ever owned, that was boat number 17, and I really like my pursuit because it's fast, it's narrow, it does not turn very well because it's not supposed to. It's almost 14 feet long. But it paired with the XI3, I absolutely love it. It's probably
That's what I was going to say. You've got a bow mount on it, and what kind of battery are you running on the bow mount?
Dakota lithium 100 ampere. And I haven't killed it yet. I thought for sure I was going to. I went 10.5 miles in one tournament running my freaking guts out because my fish in practice were only a half a mile from the boat ramp, and they weren't there on tournament day, so I run like crazy. Man. And I had my daughter with me that day. She's 17, getting ready to go to the Navy, and that was her first tournament. So I took 2 lead acid batteries and threw them in her boat, one in the front, one in the back, because it evens out. It weighs like 4 pounds. So it's perfect to put 2 batteries in it. And I run my guts out that day. And I told her, I said, girl, you got to go back to the boat ramp because her battery was dying. I said, mine's going to die anytime. I was 10.5 miles in. I didn't die yet. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but 10.5 miles in a day. If you're running 10.5 miles in a tournament, you're in panic mode. So you're going to lose anyway.
Yeah, I hope I don't ever get on that 10.5 mile pattern. That's not a good pattern to be on.
But hey, Lambert, I got a question for you. It's been 6 years since I've been to Kentucky Lake.
Yeah.
What has the Asian carp done to that place? Is it bad? Good?
I would rather fish in my front yard than Kentucky Lake. I keep hearing the numbers honestly, I keep hearing the numbers like 15 and 16-inch fish are going up, which makes it seem like the overall population is on the rise. But last time I was up there, I covered 16 miles on tournament day. I found 0 schools of fish, 0 balls of bait out deep. I mean, it's just changed so much from the summertime ledge hammer factory that we're used to. Some of the guys, I think the people that do well are catching them on the south end of Kentucky Lake. And if Jody's still watching, Jody can chime in because I think he went and fished a KBF up there. If I'm not mistaken, Jeff, he said he was going to after we interviewed him. But I mean, the south end of the lake and in the creeks and creek mouths and stuff, I think it's still holding some fish. A lot of people are relying on the smallmouth more, up on the north end on the rocky banks and stuff where, it used to just be, if you weren't on a mega school, you might as well not even take your boat off the trailer. So I don't know if they'll ever get back there. I really don't. I don't know what you have to do to those Asian carp.
I heard you got to go so far up the creeks, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna go fish the KBF down there in 2 weeks, and I've heard it's not what last time I was there was when Kurt won the national championship. That was
I mean, those honestly, the last time when Dwayne Taft when he won it. Me, Josh Evans, and Adam Baumbaugh late in day 2 got on a killer bite right there at Paris by the bridge on the roadhead, and we were just snatching freaking 19s and 20s, dragging a Ned rig in 30 feet of water on 10-pound test, Josh. 10-pound test.
Not 6.
Not 6. I don't throw 6 for nothing.
You
If I
coward.
was fishing with a cricket, for brim,
You
I
coward.
would throw a 6-pound test. I ain't got time for that, player.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I heard
awesome.
I heard it's changed a lot. I heard it's really rough. They said that the Asian carp are keeping all the schools like scattered, busting them up, and they said it's crazy. But I'm gonna go. My buddy's really trying everything in his heart and soul to I hate to say this, qualify for the national championship, and it's been really tough for him. He's missed it by an inch. He's missed it by a spot. It's his first year fishing, by the way. And
Did you say to qualify for the national championship?
in case he's listening, just listen. This guy's my boss, so let's
Oh,
just
shit.
keep that.
Okay.
Prayers
Has
up
he
for you,
paid-
boss.
Has he paid his membership fee yet?
Has he entered a tournament yet?
That's what I told him. That's what I told him at the beginning of the year. I said, any jackass can qualify for the national championship.
Hey,
So then
come on.
At the end of Lake Erie, he looked at me. He's like, "Yeah, Bobby, any jackass qualified for the national championship." I was like, "Son of a-"
Oh, man. Has he
Tell him
thought
to
about
enter-
applying for the Titan Tungsten Pro stuff? It's also a really good one to start building your confidence on.
I think that comes with an invite to the championship. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, so he's trying real hard. So we're gonna go down there and fish just because, but we'll see.
Y'all have a good time. I mean, Kentucky, I love Kentucky Lake. It's beautiful. You know, it's huge, tons of water. You can kind of you can really pick what you wanted to fish, but I mean, it's got a good population of smallmouth. It still has some big largemouth. You're just having to look for them in different areas. But
Never caught
I wouldn't look for them on a ledge. If I were looking anywhere, it would not be on a ledge.
Well,
It'd save
on my
you a
way-
lot of miles.
There goes all
Yeah,
my
no.
weight.
Yeah.
And
do
while you're
that.
there, go eat some Asian carp. I heard they're trying to sell them in restaurants and whatnot to try to help thin them out. So
I'm gonna bring my bow. I'm gonna shoot them.
there you go. Just net them. Put that XI3 on high and just net them as you roll down the lake. You can do that.
Wear a helmet.
Yeah. Well, fellas, we're about to wrap this. Yeah, we're about to wrap this thing up. We've been going over an hour. It's been a hilarious night. A lot of fun. A lot of good information. Before we go, though, I know Dark Waters. You want to shout anybody out besides your podcast, Josh? Before we go.
Yeah, obviously, Sticks Fishing, they've taken really good care of me this year. They've helped me out tremendously with the rods and everything. And then, obviously, Dakota Lithium, they've made traveling and doing these tournaments a lot easier. And they've opened up a lot of doors for me. So, those two companies have just been really great to me. Other than that, dude, just everyone that listens to the podcast, everyone that's reaching out to me, everyone that's shotgunning beers for me, all that shit is greatly appreciated. I love the energy. I love everyone's enthusiasm. And, I mean, everyone makes this shit so much fun. I've been trying to shut this podcast down for like 2 years now. And I just can't because everyone just makes it so fun. So for everyone that, all the people that listen, all the guests, I can't thank you guys enough. So
Awesome.
You the man. Robert, what about you, man?
I got a shout out to Pro Tackle Crafters. It's a company up here that's kind of like I was, painting baits. They keep me stocked and tackle all year long. Dakota Lithium, New Canoe, Chasing 20 Clothing Company. If you guys haven't heard of them yet, you will soon. They started out as a bass boat company, chasing 20 pounds, and we kind of brought it to their attention that we're always chasing 20s in the kayak business. And there's a whole new line going to be coming out this year. And Raccoon Creek Outfitters, they're a local company out of Albany, Ohio. They've done a world of things to get me in the kayak that I'm in now. I've never dreamed I'd be in one I never dreamed, like we were talking about the evolution of kayak fishing, that I'd have a $5,000 plastic boat sitting out in the garage, 6 or 7 or 8,000. I don't know how much is in that freaking thing. I don't want to count it, but they took really good care of me this year and really got me fishing back in the tournament scene big time. So, yep, all those guys have hooked me up and helped me out all season.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Man.
I appreciate you guys coming on. Josh, Robert, congrats on your big wins.
Thanks,
Both
man.
of you, thank you for what you've contributed in the past to the sport to get to where we're at, but what we're going to do moving forward.
sweet. I
We'll
appreciate
see you
it.
on the pesky.
Yeah, I'll see you
Yeah,
guys
There we
soon.
go.
That's the
There we
deal.
go. All right, everybody. Thanks for everybody in the comments for watching. Great night. See y'all next week.
All right,
Go.
we'll see you.
See ya.